Hey, welcome to the Fragrance Night. If it's your first time, as they say, welcome. If it's returning, I deeply appreciate it. We're going to talk about a fragrance that came out in 2012, and that is by Tom Ford's Ombré de Hyacinth. But before we get into that, I do want to show you just something that's off to the side, that things that I like to do that maybe you like to do or would like to do. Making the home smell really good, and I'm really good at that, and I have various ways I do that, some with a candle. But I'm going to turn you on to something you might have saw on TikTok, and I did buy it, and I swear it's great. But there are some things that probably you've never seen or heard of, and that is something out of Paris, but you can do it now here in the United States, and that is none other than a Lamborghini. Now this is perfume oil inside, and you see that wick that's in there. When you pull the cap off and you light it, and it flickers, and it's supposed to pull the impurities out of the air, and then you blow it out and you put this vent on there because you don't want to. But the beautiful thing about this is that you can leave the house and not worry about burning the house down. If you like me, like candles, and one of the favorite candles is out of New York called Lofco. But this is called Lamborghini, or Lamp, Lampe, and then Burger, Berger. But there's Lamborghini, and it's by a French, I guess a guy that worked in the OR, and it's supposed to pull the impurities out of the air. But once it gets going, it's a beautiful scent. There's another company called La Di Da out of, I think it's Joplin, Missouri, Courtney Candles. And they sell a lot of this Lamborghini lamps. And they're not expensive, but they can be, because they can get really beautiful looking with the Queen's Crown or King's Crown, can run as much. But something like this probably wouldn't run you more than $50, maybe even less. And then as they get more elaborate, enamel or porcelain. And I even found one, I wish I had it with me. My wife found it at a resale shop. She recognized it. That thing had to be maybe 25 years old, and she pulled the trigger for me because she know I like it. Another one I'm gonna show you that you probably seen on TikTok that I say it is wonderful is this thing right here by Sentiment. And that one, you put the oil in there, and then you turn it on. You make it, see that? It's beautiful. Okay, now let's get into why you came. Okay, so here we go. Ombre de Hyacinth by Tom Ford. I've been looking for a hyacinth fragrance. I'm a very floral person. The only floral I don't quite care about is tuberose. But anything else, magnolia, narcissus, violet, you name it. I like rose, specific Taif rose. I love jasmine, gardenia. I'm just a big floral kind of guy. And so this one but this came out in 2012 and by Celine Becker, or Colleen Becker. And she has like over 148 fragrances in her database. I smelled this back in 2012, and I think what I had purchased was from the private line of Tom Ford was Cafe Rose. Before that, I had the 2007 version of Noir de Noir, and then I came across this, and it just propelled me back to 1975. And it was a fragrance you probably could get it on like $40 now. And it was called Gray Flannel. And I made some notes because when I smelled that, I said, wow, this reminds me of Gray Flannel, which I was more like maybe 19 years old during that time, almost 20. And, oh, Gosh, that's funny. I almost knocked the camera over. Anyway, in this, at the top of it there, and it's not a lot going on in this as it is a lot going on in gray flannel, as a matter of fact. But the things that they do have in common is that it both has violet, they both have got venom in it. And then they kind of depart from there. But I guess it's more what made me think about it was, God, it probably been a lot of violet in there. That's probably why. Because in here, in the mid, it has the hyacinth, and that's what I was looking for. And then there's some pink pepper, so it made it a little spicy. And there's some jasmine. And again, I tell you, I love jasmine. And then there's some gabanum, musk, and benzoin. But in that gray flannel, that was by Ombré and he only has, from what I can find, only one perfume, and that was gray flannel. And then I don't know what happened. Either they haven't listed it on Fragrantica, or he just fell off the face of the planet after that. Anyway, so in gray flannel, from what I can see, it has no hyacinth. But like I said, it's got that violet, and it even has oak moss, and that oak moss is definitely, probably back then, would not have been a synthetic, as you will find now. It's been by IFRA. I think they don't allow oak moss in fragrances. Probably, I don't think it has anything to do with scarcity, as it might have something to do with skin sensitivity. Anyway, I got a question on the side. Have you guys ever wondered, and there's no way we're going to ever know the answer, but sometimes I wonder, do we smell the same things the same way? Do we see things the same way or differently? Such as when you see the red light, do we really see red, or our interpretation of what we were told, and then we move by that? But if we could see in each other's eyes or smell in each other's nose, if that makes sense, that we actually see and smell the same thing. So sometimes if we're reviewing things, you really have to make the interpretation of what you feel, because our skin is different, weather is different, sometimes other things, moods are different. And what you smell right then, you may not smell later, and then you'll smell it again, or maybe never again. And so I wonder, when we listen to each other, sometimes we still don't know if we're ever really going to pick up the things that everybody's picking up. So the best thing that we can get out of this is that we do enjoy what it is that we do, and that is, we all like fragrance. So whatever it is, our interpretations, our mind is picking up, or our brain and senses are picking up. Let's really enjoy just whatever it is that we like. I'm thinking we probably shouldn't bash fragrances as much as we do in the past, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and we don't know what I may put on and say, oh gosh, it stinks. But maybe it doesn't stink. Maybe it's our interpretation from our minds and our senses that creates that for us. But if we could smell it from somebody else's senses, which we'll never be able to do, we may say, oh, damn, that's beautiful. But it's because what's in here. So beauty is truly in the eye of the beholder, and so is the smell. And so with that, like, share, subscribe. Let's always believe that we're all beautiful. We all smell great. We all want to do as best we can with what we like. And if anything you could do, share what you have, because it's just there for a fleeting moment. Have a great day. See you in another video.